We on? Okay, cool. All right, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the District of Brown Deer School Board meeting. I call this meeting to order at 6:05 p.m. Verification of public notice. The meeting has been publicly noticed. Verification of quorum. We have all 7 board members in attendance this evening. Approval of the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I will move that we approve the agenda.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I say.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Farrington. Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor would raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0 in the reading of our vision and mission statement. Our vision is to provide a rigorous education that empowers our students to confidently navigate in our ever-changing world. And our mission is through the lens of excellence, equity, and engagement. We are dedicated to empowering every student with the essential skills to build a foundation for lifelong learning. All right, let's go on to our next item, business office reports. Mr. Clement.
Evening, members of the board. Just a few brief items included in my report this evening. Number one is that summers are no picnic for the business office. We're very busy and we are currently preparing for our audit. Field audit will be happening next week. So we're getting ready for that. So that's a big part of what we've been doing this week, and then next week they'll be here going through the final numbers for our fiscal year. We also, Trina Jackson, our human resources manager, and myself met with National Information Services last week, and we had our annual report with them, kind of our check-in as to how business has been going for us and working with them. We did get some early positive numbers on our health insurance claims. As you know, last year or the year before, we had, significant claims and we had that 13% increase. Started to moderate toward the beginning of this calendar year. So the first 6 months, we saw the last 4 months of March through June, the claims have gone down. And so we're in a really positive trend right now. So that's good news. So if that trend continues, we expect to have a positive renewal for 25-26. And as you know, they look at the 12-month period. So by the time we start talking about rates in February and March, they'll be looking at the entire year of 2024. And so the first half of 2024 has gone really well. So we're excited about that. And we'll continue to work with them on some other things. We also, on July 1st, we switched to self-funded dental. So we're working through that. We pay the bills now. We don't pay premiums out. We pay a monthly fee to the third-party administrator. And then as the claims come in weekly, they get pulled from our bank account and monitor that to kind of see how those expenses are going. But we're not doing the premium piece anymore. We're just expensing it for the purposes of having money available to pay the bill. So we are going through that. So we've had the first month of that as well. We are going to be entering into a joint food service agreement with St. Eugene School, the Catholic school in Fox Point. They reached out to us about a month ago because their previous agreement with another school district had expired and they couldn't renew with them. And so they were kind of seeking out a partner to work with. That was another Aramark school. So Aramark was familiar with them. They had a couple of, and so Molly Orton, our regional manager that you met before when we've had presentations. She was familiar with the group. She knows the 2 employees that the school had used before. So basically all it is an agreement that we're going to be working with. And we actually had this several years ago with Eastbrook Academy, where we were basically providing meals for them. And so there'll be a couple of staff members that will shift to our payroll. And then we'll be billing St. Eugene's on a monthly basis for the number of meals prepared. But all the meal preparation is done at the school. Other than food deliveries will come here, and then one of the Aramark employees will use our van, which we have available to run deliveries over there, because they'll just take the food as needed on a weekly basis. And then we'll bill them based on the number of meals that are sold. And they handle all of the free and reduced, all of their own claiming. They do all that piece. And so we have an amount that we'll be charging them. We'll get paid on a monthly basis. And so it'll be a little bit of extra funds for us. It'll cover the cost of the van use as well. The van is not currently being used at all. We have trouble with like the battery dying because we just don't use it for any other purposes. The food service, so if we don't have that alternate site like we had planned when we first bought it. So this will actually work out really well for us. And so we're happy to help out. Obviously, finding out in August that you don't have a food service vendor can be rather challenging for a small school. They obviously can't RFP out to do it themselves. They have to partner with somebody because they're so small. So they were happy to work with us again. It's basically going to be a seamless transition for them, Aramark people, using with Aramark. So we're excited to help out.
So Kevin, are we charging them an administrative fee? Or are we putting some money on top of what the every meal, like the breakfast and the lunch and the snack? Are
Yes,
we
it's
charging
included in that price because Aramark will increase our cost slightly to do that as well. So we're covering not only the food costs, the administrative fee for that, and then we have some quote unquote profit, as that, and also like I said, the taking the van use into account fuel, things like that. It's not going to be a ton of that kind of travel, but we'll be, because they're right on the other side of, they're on the other side of the fruit road, just north of Good Hope, so they're not far away. So, yeah. Any questions about that? Like I said, that was an agreement we had with Eastbrook Academy for many years. Taher had it originally, and when Aramark took over, they continued it, and then right after the pandemic, they switched to another company. But so it's not something we're familiar with. So.
Board members, questions for Mr. Clemick in relationship to this agreement? Now, is this a signed contract that we're doing with them, or is this a handshake?
No, it's a signed thing. It doesn't need board approval per se, because there's, but we will, it's a 1-year agreement, so we can certainly try it for this year. If for some reason we don't feel like it's working out, we can give them more notice so that they could decide, they have more time to find an alternate vendor the following year. But Molly did say it's been the employees are really strong. They come to work all the time. There hasn't been a lot of problem. They don't hear much about it. So they were very confident this would be a relatively easy partnership to work in. If it would have been super complicated, or we felt it was going to take time away from Michelle and the work that she could do in our district, we wouldn't consider it, but it seemed like it was a pretty simple situation.
Are we invoicing them 30, 60, or 90 days?
30 days.
Okay.
Okay. Real brief staffing update. As of today, we have just a few teachers, a few positions open at this point. At the elementary school, we have one classroom teacher. We think we may have a candidate for that one that I think they're interviewing tomorrow. We still have the opening at the music teacher. We have one of our 2 instructional coaches. The second instructional coach was a position we never filled last year. We weren't able to find someone. So this is not, it's not a loss from last year. It's a position that's staying vacant. So obviously if we start the year without it, we'll move forward. And the special education teacher at the elementary school is actually an opening we had at the high school that Ms. Ramos was moving down to the elementary school to create a functional skills room at the elementary school. We have not, and that's a more specific skill set for the employees. We haven't found that candidate yet. So if we aren't able to open that up at the beginning of the year, those students will be dispersed with the classroom levels across category from teachers to start. And we'll continue to look, and if we find the right candidate, then we'll bring that person on at that point. Middle school, all positions are filled, so very excited there. High school, we think we may have a lead on a Spanish teacher. The math teacher is the other one that we are still working on trying to get. And at the district level, on tonight's list, you have our candidate for the communications and community coordinator. So that position's been filled. So the last one we have is our operations manager, which we're working through. Matt does have some candidates he's looking to interview, but that's again another position that we just never filled last year. We tried to several times, but never found the right candidate for that. So again, it's not an immediate loss for us if that position isn't filled immediately, but we are working. So those are all budgeted positions. Any questions on the staffing piece where we are right now?
What grade was the teacher for BAE?
4th grade, I think, for the place.
Is this our only music teacher? Or is there-
We have one music, we had our one music teacher that was here for a really long time. She resigned in July.
So this position means we don't have a music teacher at all for the elementary school?
Currently, yes, we are. There is a plan temporarily to, and I'll, if Mr. Griffin is here. Oh, Mr. Griffin is here. Mr. Griffin, you want to answer that question? Or?
We don't currently have one. There's 2 options that we have on the table, but to buy us a little bit more time. I'm going to work with Ms. Turner this week to see if we can incorporate library into the credit hour schedule. But then the 2 options will either be with a person that will be going back to school to get their music license, or doing very similar to what we do with Arts at Large, where we kind of track with organizations to bring music into school.
Right. So I was gonna say, one of the things that we potentially could do is Wisconsin Conservatory of Music. be able to talk to them. And I know because they actually do stuff like that as well too and stuff. So there are a couple of different options if we needed to get something done. Go ahead and just do a quick consultant contractor for to have someone come in and run it for us until we're able to hire somebody. And if not, keep going on with the consultant.
We are trying some other avenues, but yeah, that's been a really hard one to fill. I think we had one applicant during that time, so it just hasn't been a wide pool to choose from, so. And then finally, I just wanted to mention a little promotional thing for something that we're doing. As I mentioned before, I think the village and the village management is doing these quarterly town hall meetings that they hold at the village hall. And they did the last one about 3 months ago on assessments and how your property is assessed and calculated in your taxes and things like that. So Tyler Burkhardt and I will be doing a joint one where we're gonna talk about the tax levy. So he's gonna spend some time talking about how the village calculates their tax levy, and I'm gonna explain how the school district calculates ours. So just to give a little bit of insight. So that's gonna happen a week from Thursday, August 22nd. Starts at 6 o'clock at Village Hall. It's designed to be in person, but there is the ability to get a link. If you reach out to Tyler at the Village Hall and say you want to be on virtual, they can send you the Zoom link or whatever software they use. You can submit questions in advance if you want to. It will be recorded and available on their website at some point after the presentation as well. But obviously, folks are encouraged to attend. Dr. Cotton will be there, so it'll be an opportunity for some of our residents to meet her if they haven't had a chance to do that as well. So looking forward to the opportunity to kind of explain some of the fun intricacies that you all get to hear about for school finance and share it with the public at large. So otherwise, if there are no other questions, that is the end of my report.
All right, board members, anything for Mr. Clinton?
6 o'clock, 6 to 7.
All right, so actually, we're in a better position than we were last year at this time when it comes to hires and for teachers and stuff. So, Ms. Jackson, good job. All right, so let's go on to our next item, approval of new hires, Mr. Clemming.
And we have a slew of them this evening. So I think Ms. Ross has created a motion.
He did. I was checking, make sure that the names were on there, all the names were on there. So,
Try to do it all in one sentence with some breaths in there, of course. But the teachers we are adding, we have Corinne Brauniner, an elementary school sped teacher, Laverne Dillard, an elementary school sped teacher, Gil Guskov, elementary school classroom teacher, Alana Harris, our elementary school instructional coach, Christy Pachowski, elementary school classroom teacher, Madeline Morgan, a middle school science teacher, Amy Peters, a middle school science teacher, Andrew Jones, a high school English teacher, and Lisa Offerman, a high school special education teacher. And then as a separate motion, we do have our communications and community coordinator, Caitlin Branstad.
all right, so I'd like to make a motion for this slew of new hires.
Dr. Beadle, I'd like to make a motion to approve the hiring of Corinne Braunreiter and Laverne Dillard as the elementary school sped teachers, Gil Guskoff and Christy Pukowski as the elementary school teachers, Alana Harris as an elementary school instructional coach, Madeline Morgan and Amy Peters as middle school science teachers, Andrew Jones as a high school English teacher, and Lisa Opperman as a high school sped teacher effective August 26, 2024 for the 24-25 school year.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Ashley, motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Here, seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. And our next motion is for our employment agreement with Caitlin Brunstadter.
Dr. Beadle, I'd like to make a motion to approve the employment agreement for Caitlin Bronstatter as the Communications and Community Coordinator for the 2024-2025 school year. And my apologies for butchering her last name.
All right, a motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bacon. Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? You can see none, all in favor will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing seen that, motion carries unanimously, 7-0. So now we will welcome Corinne, Laverne, Jill, Elena, Christy, Madeline, Amy, Andrew, and Lisa, and Caitlin to the Brown Deer team. All right. Let's go on to our next item is approval of resignations.
And we did have one resignation, Tiffany Nelson, an elementary school classroom teacher.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the resignation of Tiffany Nelson as an elementary school teacher effective June 7th, 2024, pending receipt of liquidated damages.
And we did receive.
Receive it? Okay, all right. All right, so thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion has been made. We have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ashley. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? And seeing that, all in favor will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And seeing that, motion carries unanimously, 7-0. We will wish Tiffany the best of luck in the future. And as we always say, once a Falcon, always a Falcon. All right, let's go on to our next item, engaged learners. Discussion and approval of the Browndale Elementary School, Middle School, and High School student parent handbooks. Would that be Dr. Cotton or would that be Dr. Glass?
Take it off and then there's gonna.
So tonight, our building principals, Mr. Griffin, Ms. Washington, and Ms. Present, and will share updates, modifications, and changes to their student handbooks for their respective buildings. We'll be able to answer any questions that you have, and I'm going to Mr. Griffin to share any updates in regards to his handbook first.
All right, AI is a big thing that's happening in our world right now. At this time, the elementary school did not add any language about AI because we're still learning a lot about it. So we're gonna see what happens in middle high school, and then we'll go from there as we go from the trip down medically. And so, there's no AI language at this time. We did reinforce language around the truancy policy, being on time, that we want kids in their seats around at 8:35. And that we also put in the process that if you're with the number, align the number of absences to our families, let them know, like after you'll get a daily phone call from our attendance secretary, followed by, I think it's like 5 to 6. Our social worker or our guidance counselor will reach out and have a conversation with you, with an administrator, an assistant principal. And then we get to 8 or 9, we want to have a conversation with myself to come up with a plan of how we can make sure that they get to school on time. It's something that we really utilized prior to COVID, but it kind of went away. We want to make sure that we reestablish that. One piece that's going to get put back in there that got omitted, we don't bring birthday treats in anymore. Once a month, the PTC has the big birthday celebration where they acknowledge every kid's birthday. And even kids in the summer, we celebrate your half birthday, where during your lunch hour, you get some type of snack, you get everybody sing happy birthday. It's a big party. We're gonna invite you to it next year. We are flirting with the idea of changing the temperature for outdoor recess. Right now, we often lose a lot of people, recess supervisors, when it's 10 degrees and we are going outside. So we want to raise that to about 25. I had a conversation with Dr. Cotton about that. The other part is a lot of our students don't always have the right clothing to go outside. And I don't mean the students that just take off their clothes. I mean, it's the kids that I don't have a heavy coat, but yet I'm outside. And we're saying you can't go into the snow if you don't have snow cans, but at the same time, you're still outside. So we're shifting that language as well. For 4K, it's been a common practice, but it was never in the handbook that in 4K, we don't allow diapers at the elementary school. So we added that so that parents know, like, we'll assist with the potty training process because you should be already in that state. But just the wearing of diapers became an issue a couple of times for a couple of families, but it wasn't in writing. We added that part. We removed the virtual learning days because we don't do virtual learning days, but we did highlight the opportunity to continue learning through IXL. And we reinforced the social media policy and the online gaming policy because a lot of the bullying situations that take place at the elementary school come through social media or online gaming. And we're just advocating and put disclaimers in there that we want parents to check what their children are doing because they are a first line of defense when they're not at school or when things carry over, and just make sure that we align bullying situations that happen through social media or via gaming are equivalent to a tier 3 level of disciplinary action on our end.
All right. I was gonna ask, board members, anyone have any questions for Mr. Griffin? Relationship to the handbook?
So if your kids are gaming and they're bullying on the game, how did that come into the school building as a tier 3?
Oh, when you come into the school and you're ready to start a fight at 8 something in the morning or it's disrupting the learning environment, that's technically didn't happen on school grounds. So we go through the process of communicating with families saying, this is what's happening via cell phone, via gaming outside of school. So we need parents to be more involved and let them know, like, if this continues, these are the consequences that you can get. Because even when you look at the social media aspect, legally, you're supposed to be 13 to even have social media. We don't have 13-year-olds at the elementary school, but we do know they have access to these different platforms. So we're trying to engage families in the conversation because we can't always be liable or responsible for actions that are happening when we're not even present without having a strong parental influence as well.
Bro. Any other questions? Mr. Griffin? Only question I have, and I think this might be probably in all of the handbooks, is that district compliance officer. I got Ms. Ramos. Is Mr. Clemming still the officer for that? Or, because I remember us having a conversation about that whole thing. I just wanted to just make sure before we print these out and send them out, just to make sure.
The compliance officers for non-Title IX things. I mean, Ms. Ramos will be the primary one for students. Ms. Jackson is going to be the primary one for employees.
Okay.
And I can serve in either capacity.
I know, I was just looking at it because in his, well, if you look on page, what page is that? 42 and stuff, it just had the thing in there for about the compliance officers and everything. So I just wanted to make sure, because they're probably gonna be the same way in each one of the handbooks. So I just wanted to make sure before we start printing them off, that we had the right names and right stuff in there or whatever.
Okay, one last change, our cover page is gonna be changing. So we'll show you guys the updated picture of that ASAP, where we incorporated a lot more of the elementary aspect of it to that. From just the opening picture part of it.
And you said the kill piece is being taken out.
The virtual learning piece, I didn't touch the kill after that. But that's more like a district office piece, so I didn't touch that part. We can't take that out if you would like.
Or
I don't think we even doing, are we even doing kill anymore?
I can remove it.
Okay.
But didn't we just talk about that too yesterday, I believe, as well, too. So I just wanted to so I just wanted to just make sure before we going through this whole thing that we make sure that we've dotted the i's and crossed the t's when it comes to our handbooks.
I'd like to thank you though for having the eye to pay attention to what's happening with kids that's not directly influencing what happens on, it's indirect, but it does. And so keeping abreast of what's happening in the schools is really important. Would it be helpful though to have something sent to the parents of the elementary schools, students to just say, FYI, you talked about, generally, there's a requirement for age 13. However, we understand that it's discretion of parents, but please, monitor and make sure that your children are, acting responsibly so that things don't carry something. I don't know, just
So,
whatever.
What we're gonna do this year, for all of our families, we'll send out our bi-weekly communication. We highlight one or two aspects of the handbook just as a reminder. So if there's ever a question about it, we can say, hey, it was in the handbook. Not only was it in the handbook, we sent it out on our news blast, because issues that are very, very big topics, we want to get out there as much as possible. So 2 to 3 times a month, there's certain, especially the beginning of the school year, the gaming and the social media will be very big pieces that we talk about with everyone.
Great job, thank you.
The only last thing is just make sure, I know you're changing the cover or whatever, let's just make sure we got 24, 25 on there.
That's when it changed too.
Yeah, well, I hope so. All right, thank you very much. All right, any other questions, Mr. Griffin? All right, let's go on to,
Dr. Vito, members of the middle school handbook continues to be informative for families while outlining our expectations and procedures to do better. The middle school administrative team made minor changes to update things like attendance procedures. We included safe arrival so that our families know that that's how they call in absences, to make sure that's accessible. We did go out there and use and put language about AI in our academic integrity section. We want our students voice to come out in their assignments. We want their intelligence and everything, the brilliance that they have without using AI. We also, just a few technology updates for parents so that they were aware about how report cards will be sent home. My understanding that we'll be using Skyward for that. So just minor things, but for the most part, we kept it the same.
Board members, questions, about the, middle school handbook?
I just have a question about formatting in general. I noticed on the elementary school pages, it listed the actual names of each person in the position. And it also had the Administrative Services Center employees listed and their address, phone numbers as well. On the middle school, it has no names listed, just phone numbers. And it also does not include that Administrative Service Center. Does that need to be on there? The high school as well, it has the names, but it doesn't include that portion.
Okay.
And I just didn't know if they're all supposed to have that because they're all just set up a little bit differently.
I would just say, you know what, again, and this is just me, I would like everything to be uniform, so if we have it with the names, telephone numbers and everything else in one, we'd have the same thing for all of the handbooks, so I don't know if that, adds some more, luggage to, your suitcase, but, yeah, if we can make sure that they're all kind of uniform. Close to your suitcase.
Thank you. That was the only thing I really noticed as far as formatting. I just have to look at. Thank you.
Cool, so, okay, so you guys you're gonna make those changes, all right, any other questions for, middle school, for Ms. Washington?
I just had one other, just a point of just clarity. There are orientations, correct, for each of those schools, and the handbook is one of the things that gets discussed with parents and showing for those.
Yes, so we have two sessions where it's informative when they first get there, we'll be in the MAC and we'll talk generally to everyone. And then there's a separate session with Ms. Kirk and Ms. myself, and we will share the expectations.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know we talked about this last year, do we have a sign-off sheet where the parents signed that they got the handbook?
They do as part of Skyward registration.
Okay, yeah, because I know we talked about that was a really big thing, so that way we can make sure that parents couldn't say that, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Well, you got the handbook, you got it, you signed off. Okay. All right, thank you.
Just to jump ahead, we didn't get to the high school one yet, but they actually include our mission and the Brown Deer Way on there. And I noticed the other ones actually don't have that exactly. So that might be something else that you want added to all of them to have that included.
Mission and
That's our
vision.
district mission.
I have a suggestion. Those little QR codes, if we could put the book in a QR code, so when you do have your meeting, if they wanted to look, it's in the QR.
Who told you what the elementary was already doing?
Don't went so bad, so. Okay, so a QR code, I don't know who that goes to. So that they can look.
I guess if they're doing it and parents are there and stuff, they can just kind of use their phones and they got it up on the screen or something.
Yeah, so if they create a QR code.
All right, cool.
All right.
Okay, so ready for a motion?
No, we still got high school. Hey, Ms. Brown's been sitting over there patiently waiting to be able to share with us.
Okay, so, good evening, everyone. It's time to, talk about the changes for the high school. The biggest changes, I updated the dress code for high school students. Basically, we just wanted to strengthen our language around making sure that high school students come to school with a full shirt, that covers their entire stomach and back. Another one that we wanted to address was, there are some athletic shorts that are being worn as shorts. Yes.
Track shorts.
And so we are just really stressing the importance of not wearing those athletic shorts during school and making sure that all undergarments cannot be seen through your garments. And so if you look at that, the dress code was updated. Another area that was updated, like the previous school, we took out the report cards are being mailed because we are moving to online. We also had to update our personal communication devices policy only because every year new technology comes out, and what we discovered is students started to purchase smart glasses. But because that wasn't listed, they thought it was okay. So now we have all smart devices, which includes smart watches, smart glasses, and anything else they come out with. What are smart glasses? So it's just like eyeglasses, but it has Bluetooth in the glasses, so you can listen to music, you can see things. It's just like a smart watch, but they're on your eyes. So we kept seeing these students with like this blue light, and we were like, what is that? So we looked it up, and now they have like smart glasses. So we had to just change the language to include all smart devices, because they'll come out with something else next. And so we just wanted to make sure that all of those items were covered. Otherwise, the handbook pretty much stayed the same, besides some other minor changes.
So they can have like that.
No. They're not supposed to. And I do want to thank the board for approving our smart personal communication devices policy. It worked really well. I reminded the teachers that it works as good as we work our plan. And for the most part, it was working well. When the teachers relax, our students relax. So I'm just going to remind the teachers that together, we're very strong and we can do it. We saw we can do it. So let's just continue making sure we enforce our policy at the school. And overall, like I said, the high school pretty much stayed the same.
All right, any other questions?
I have one suggestion for the high school. That would be a table of contents.
Is there?
Is there?
Yeah.
Am I
I had to find, I had to look forward to or whatever. Yeah, it's like the third page.
Right after the day.
Oh, that's that.
Yeah.
So little.
I did include a language about AI also under the whatever cheating, academic integrity. However, we are not completely against AI at the high school. We don't want to fight AI. We want to teach students how to use it responsibly. But the language is included just in case you do use it in the wrong way. But our hopes is that we can encourage our students the positive ways to use it and how to use it appropriately. So you don't turn around and then use it in a negative way and then suffer some consequences for it.
I do have one question, and it's because I'm really keying in on this bullying part. That third paragraph, it says repetition, bullying behaviors happens more than once or have the potential to happen more than once. Student about regular or anybody will receive consequences for that support. It's almost saying like, it has to happen multiple times in order for it to be bullying. Bullying can happen one time. And so I potentially would want to change how that's worded. It is on page 25, under bullying, third paragraph. And it's under that repetition. Yes.
Well, I was going to say that definition was probably taken from DPI. But we can update it. In most cases, we say being repetitive because it's sometimes harder to prove bullying. It's not a repetitive thing, but there are instances where it is a one-time offense, but it depends on how the district would like to adopt official language. Do they want to go against the definition that is put out, or do we want to modify it to meet our district? But we're open to however the district would like to move forward.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. President Beal, I just want to say that language does reflect DPI's language that has very strict guidelines when it comes to the number of times, the size, the disabilities of a student. And so possibly we can look at that language before making a decision.
Because I guess the other thing too is because you cited we cited one of our board policies, 5517.01. I just want to sit there and just make sure that I reread this to make sure, because if we are going to make that change, then we're going to have to potentially, if we do have it in there saying it has to happen more than one time in order for it to be bullying, then we're going to have to, may have to look at that as a board and make that as a change to our board policy.
Let's also say that have the potential to be repeated. So that could get you on your one.
It could, but I'd rather it not that, because you know, that kind of leaves you a little gray area, you know, if you're turning around and you're reading this or whatever have you. I would like for it to be very to the point. No gray areas in relationship to this whole thing, because I think we did have a couple of situations where we had some discipline things that happened. And it kind of, even though all of us kind of thought that it was that, according to our policy, it wasn't by the true definition of it or whatever stuff, but yeah. So I just want to make sure that we have things that are concise in relationship to that or whatever, especially in light of the training and stuff that we went through yesterday. Because some of this stuff actually does come through from bullying or whatever have you, and then moving up the chain. So I just want to make sure. Unnecessary stuff. I don't think we have in here one time. I don't think we have it in here for as multiple times. I don't see it as yeah. Yeah.
The second sentence of the definition of bullying says bullying may be a repeated behavior and involves an imbalanced power.
All right, question, boy, are you guys comfortable with it? Or would you like a change to it or whatever? Like I said before, when you read it, it almost makes it seem as though that it has to be multiple times because it has repetition on there and stuff. So that would automatically make me think that it has to happen more than one time in order for it to be bullying.
Dr. Glass says that's the DPI wording. I'm fine with it.
Well, but it was also cited from our board policy. If you look at the hyperlink. So. But again, okay, I'm fine with it or whatever, like I said before, I just don't want it to come back, and if we end up with a disciplinary issue and it comes back to this, through this whole thing with bullying or whatever have you, I want to make sure that we've dotted the i's and we've crossed the t's, so if something does come, we are concise when we get ready to write it up, and whenever we do the investigation and everything.
I think it should be whether it's one or.
I think we should mirror the language that is contained in the training.
And the training part was just, you know, it was, what did it say? It just said bullying can happen one time, multiple time, whatever have you, in order for it to come to us. I think, again, I don't want to sit here and take 20 minutes discussing this right here. Can we do this? Can we just check on a couple of things in relationship to that part? We can still approve with the potential change of repetition. Do you, board members, you guys agree?
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries. I want to just double back to with my question about table of contents because the numbers aren't on the printed pages. So that was throwing me off. So it may be outside of the margin, the print margin. So you may want to check that if they're going to be printed out for the parents.
They're not printed for parents any longer. Everything is electronic. My copy does have numbers, so I don't know if they were cut off when they were made copies of, but I haven't.
Mine doesn't have, well, it got cut off.
They're very thin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the other piece for policies and procedures, there's like 20 pages within a section, that page 22 through 43. That could be a little difficult to sort through if I'm trying to find something.
Okay. Is your recommendation that we condense them to more areas?
Yeah, so that it's not 20 pages within one section. Cause I gotta look down like, okay, this probably gonna be at about page 30. And then I got
The table of content, context,
I think,
content, sorry.
yeah, if you're looking at an electronic copy, you click on in the table of contents and it'll direct you to, if it's a bookmark to the page, to the section. I think it might be difficult, like that's what you're referring to, is like when it's printed, it's quite difficult, but it is hyperlinked in the table of contents to connect you to where.
So all you do is
And it's
hover over and it connects you right to that
And
section.
then it'll take you to that section.
So not in the version we have,
No,
but
No,
no, it's not in the version that you have. It's in alphabetical order. So let's just say you are looking for, what is our policy on dances? Well, you know, it's on page 22 where it starts, and then you just can look at it alphabetically. We can do the hyperlinks if that is what we would like to.
But you already said they're already there. The version we have doesn't have that, but the version that you're putting on the website and that you're giving the parents has it set for that day.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. That's the middle school. I can help you. Like with that.
would you prefer hyperlinks if you want page numbers so that if a parent is looking at it, they can refer right to the page?
whatever is gonna be easy, just because it's a lot of words. There's no pictures, it's all just a bunch of words, and if I gotta sort through 20 pages to find what I'm looking for, they could.
I'll work with Kara to come up with an easier solution for families to be able to get through the mandate.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Any other questions in relationship to the high school? No? All right, appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right.
Ready for a motion?
Is there any other questions for the principals about their handbooks? Okay, I will say before we get started, but good job, guy. A lot of work has to go into this thing, so it's a good job. All right, so would someone like to make a motion?
Dr. Vito, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2024-25 Brown Deer Elementary, Middle, and High School Student Parent Handbooks
With corrections.
with corrections.
Yeah. All right. All right, motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries. Unanimously 7-0. All right, let's go on to our next item. All right, discussion of the approval of the athletic code book. Our athletic director,
Hey, how y'all doing, everybody?
Mr. Gregory.
Basically, the code book is the same. We made a minor change in regards to further explaining what quitting looks like and to implement a process on the communication feedback in the event that there's son or daughter decides not to want to continue. And that language is highlighted and read in the document that you should have received in the section under quitting. And basically what it says is quitting is defined by a player/student verbally stating that they no longer wish to participate on the team or through unexcused absences from practices and or games. Upon confirming that they have quit the team, the coach will notify the athletic office. And then I will generate an email that will go to the parent and guardian informing them that their child has quit the team. And then there's an example of what that email might look like. So therefore, our communication is being very transparent and communicative towards parents to understand it. That's the biggest change that you offered up.
Mr. McGregor, I would also put in here where it says that he or /she
Okay.
is no longer on the soccer team or whatever have you. So I just want to just make sure that we have that he or she and just so all of them are just kind of uniform or whatever.
I have a question on this policy. What brought about the change on this quitting policy?
We had a situation happen this last year that in my tenure, I never communicated to families and kids quit. And so we thought it'd be better that we take a proactive approach this school year. So that way, parents are aware, like if their kid's not showing up to practice, but they're saying I'm at practice or I'll play at a game tonight, their parent don't come in. So that way people know where their kids are supposed to be, you know, and basically, I think protecting us as a school district in terms of potential litigation.
Okay, it's just like spelling error there, says form, it should be from.
Okay. Anything else? Yes, Ms. Ramos.
Needs to be updated with the appropriate, person. Right now it has Dr. Cotton for the non-discrimination. So if this is for students and coaches that can use it, it should be treated at night. A little minor.
Page 2, what?
Page 2,
What you say?
Dr. Cotton is listed, so it would be treated at night.
Okay.
Oh, the complaint?
Yes.
I got
Okay.
that. I think that's fine.
Yeah, might as well have it, you might make sure that we've got it on all of, everything that goes out.
So for me, it's just a little formatting thing. Where things are numbered, there's a huge gap between the number and the
Is
sentences.
that the printed off version or electronic?
Electronic,
Okay.
but just to get that formatting, so that it doesn't look so awkward there.
I also have a formatting suggestion, and maybe it's simply on the printed page, but on page 5, there's some alignment, like the high school activities, and then where possible, like the bottom, which is middle school athletics, but like the
Yeah.
bulk of the bullet points on the following page, like that's gonna be
Yeah, like theater and performance, and then it's got the tech right there in the bullet point. Some of it's like, again, it's just the format stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions in relationship to content for the athletic code book? I hear and see none. Would someone like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion, 24-25 athletic pole book as presented.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Farrington. Motion has been made. We have a second. Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion made and seconded. Any other further discussion?
Should the motion be with permitted?
Changes, yeah. All right. All right. So again, let's do the motion again so that we can make sure that the code with changes. Or with updates. All right, so Ms. Farrington, if you'd like to make the motion again, I'm so sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to the 24-25 athletic code book as presented.
Oh, with
I'm sorry,
changes.
with changes.
With changes. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Farrington. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Motion is made and seconded. Any other discussion? You can see none. All in favor will raise hand and or aye. Any opposed? You can see none. Motion carries unanimously 7-0. Thank you very much, Mr. McGregory, because that was one of the things that came to us last year in a board meeting. So thank you for being proactive and being able to put that in there. All right, sounds good. All right, so now our engaged and innovative staff. So Dr. Cotton.
We are excited to welcome our newest faculty into the class. This week is scheduled for August 21st through the 23rd. Dr. Tanaka Glass, Director of Teaching and Learning, and Erica Ramos, Director of People Services, have been working in tandem to create an agenda that allows our newest employees an opportunity to become acclimated to the district. Tonight, Dr. Glass and Ms. Ramos are prepared to share detailed information regarding this week with the board tonight. At the end of their presentation, we will be prepared to answer any questions you may have. Dr. Glass.
All right, thank you, Dr. Cotton. Good evening.
Good evening.
President Beadle and the board. We have just a high level overview for our new teachers for the 24-25 school year. We have about 30 teachers who we are expecting. So we've lost a lot of people, but we've also gained some new Falcons, and we're excited about that. Some activities that you may want to join in during this time. We have our new teacher breakfast that will be on Wednesday, August the 21st from 8 to 9. During that time, we generally present President Beadle, and there are other members of the board who would like to attend. You are welcome to attend. Again, that will be August the 21st from 8 to 9 o'clock. When it comes to our Welcome Back Week, we have our Monday kickoff on Monday, August the 26th. We will have a welcome and address by Dr. Cotton. We will also have a guest speaker, Mr. Brandon Fleming. He is a educator, speaker, and author of Miseducated, a memoir. So we're excited about having him present and engage with our staff. Also, on Tuesday, August the 27th, we will have food trucks on campus. So we have Smoke Ring Barbecue, Dave's Dogs, Breeze, Fritz on the Street, and Yadeen's on the Go. So again, if you all want to come out and join us on Tuesday, August the 27th, these are just some highlighted areas that we thought that you'd be interested in.
Is the time for that?
12.
Okay,
Yes. And then we also have our open house, which is on Wednesday, August the 28th, from noon to 7. During that time, Superintendent Cotton will have her superintendent and parent meetings. Staff will be taking pictures, and as normal, we'll have families who have not registered thus far, so they'll have the opportunity to register, receive their schedules, and then meet and greet their teachers and finalize any type of business that they hadn't finalized at that point. We are proud to say that we have 8 trainings for our teachers. We have 8 professional development sessions for them across this time. You want to add anything?
And we've been working very diligently. I can't even speak diligently to ensure that everything is where it needs to be and our spots are secured.
Yeah. Any questions?
What's those food trucks again?
Yeah.
Smoke Ring Barbecue, Dave's Dogs, Breeze, Fritz on the Street, and Yadeen's on the Go.
And what day was the open?
Open house is on August the 28th, beginning 12 noon to 7 p.m.
Okay, the event on Monday, August 26th starts at what time? The kickoff?
8:00 a.m. And we will begin in the MAC.
How long is this call for? You said Brandon?
Yes, ma'am. 2 hours. We'll open with Superintendent Cotton, and then he will take the stage. We have that presentation from the both of them scheduled from 8:00 a.m. to 10:00 a.m.
All right, cool. Board members, questions? Oh, man, yeah. Thank you for that high overview, and man, it seems though you guys got a lot of different things going on and stuff, so I'm excited, and quite sure the rest of the board is as well too, and we've got our new teachers coming on board, and we want to be able to show them, our school spirit, as well as our returning teachers coming back. Hope they're motivated and stuff, and had a wonderful summer, and ready to come back and educate our students at the highest levels.
Just want to mention, I got an invitation.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Invitation.
Yeah, I got mine yesterday.
You'll be able to join us.
And just a reminder, for the community vibes, that's a part of that week too. So just, I hope that you all are able to attend, participate in that as well. So it sounds like that'll be a busy day for everybody, but just wanting to make sure that we give the community that opportunity to interact with the board and the district cabinet as well, who are able to attend.
What day is that?
The 21st, next Wednesday.
All right.
At 6:00.
So, all right, so did we just did A and B then, right? Is that A and B?
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to know, I just wanted to make sure.
Did a comment.
Okay. All right, so let's go on to our item number C, our registration update.
Registration for the 24-25 school year is underway. And as of Monday or yesterday, August 12th, 768 students have a completed online registration with an additional 69 that need to be verified by the district registrar for enrollment into the district. There are 120 registrations that are in progress, meaning a parent may have started the online registration but did not complete it, and the registration then timed out. Every Monday, a notification is sent to families who have not completed the online registration process. We were doing that weekly, but starting this upcoming Monday, we're going to go into a daily notification process to parents who may not have begun the online process. And as of the 12th or yesterday, we still have a large number of parents who haven't done that. And that would be 619 parents that have not even begun the process itself. So it's
Your email's working. I'm getting it.
That's good, you know. So information will also be sent via social media to remind parents of this critical step in the enrollment process. And parents will also receive a message from the district registrar and the district administrator regarding completing their online registration. I can answer any questions that you may have.
Quick question, Dr. Cotton. I know that we, and I don't know, I would hope we're still doing this. When we created the parent engagement, our family engagement, where Ms. Shimmons, to be able to go out into the community, to be able to see if those students that hadn't registered with Brown Deer ever, to be able to go out and make that communication, that initial meet and greet or whatever, letting them know about our schools and trying to do those different things. Because we had so many, I can't remember what the number, but it was a large number of students that had never even came to Brown Deer. And we didn't know whether they never were invited. Did they know, have they ever seen our facilities or whatever? So that was the reason for the creation of that. Another one of the reasons why we had that position created by Ms. Shimmons. So is she still doing that?
No, right at this point, she is not. We haven't had her, we have not reached out to her in order to do that additional extension to families right at this point.
At this point in time, I think it may be beneficial for us to make sure that she gets back into the mix to be able to do it, because we say we got, was it 600 and what?
619.
We got 619 that haven't even started the process. And then if you, and I don't know how many of you guys actually be paying attention to the blog from President Montgomery about new families moving into the district and everything else like that, whatever. So there could be kids and everything else like that. So my recommendation would be is to let's get Ms. Shimmons back on top of some of this, because you think about it, regardless of whatever we're paying her, three students come in that weren't with us before or whatever have you, there's the salary piece right there. And I don't want it to all be about money, but again, we also do know that the more students that we have in our seats, the better off we are as a district. So I would like to make sure that can continue to happen.
We can follow up.
For me, and this is my 2 cents, my delay is always the paperwork required to show I live here. I haven't moved, I live here 21 years. Now I have to go online, I don't get anything in the mail, and it's, time that it's just time. And so if I have to do that piece, bingo, I'd have it done already. Because I have to do that, it's like, every time I go do it, I'm like, oh crap, I don't have that. And so then it's like, I'm stopped and, getting that, then I have to print it. And it's like, that's a problem for people. And that's the true honest answer.
Why is that required for a
So-
returning family?
Just in case if they moved.
Yeah.
But they could still go here if they move, right?
No.
No. If they go out of the open enrollment process, that would
Yeah.
They gotta go through the process.
Mhm.
Returning family, I mean, there must be a way to just check a tax record or check something that you go, oh, they're still a resident. I don't know. It's just my own opinion, because that's why I'm part of the 600 or whatever, because of that.
But
Every year I'm like, that's what delays me.
Right.
Every year.
I wonder how much work that would take as the registrar and stuff to be like, well, I'm gonna go back through 1,700 applications, because if most people are already returning or whatever have you, that would mean that they would have to go back through each one of those or whatever. So I don't know if we. Yeah.
That's just my honest answer as to why I haven't done it and what delays me every year in doing it.
That would delay me as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be a little ticked, but again, I'll be like, hey, I want that kid, I want my kid in school.
Right.
So I'll figure it out, especially closer that day comes, that first day of school.
Right. It's on.
I'm just sitting there, hey, it'll be in their backpack. Here, you take this with you.
I'm sure other parents feel the same way about it.
That was one of, and I appreciate that sentiment. That was one of the questions that I asked about rolling, and I know that it's always the thing about, are they still a resident of the village or whatnot? But the district registrar and I, after this whole process is completed and she's had an opportunity to go through this whole battery, she and I are gonna sit down, and we talked about that earlier today. What can we do to improve it, make it a faster, more efficient process for parents like yourself that, you know, it's time consuming with this. So we're gonna look at it and see if there's something that we can do to modify it for the upcoming school year.
I wonder if people could just do the upload, like, you know, your tax bill thing or whatever, and you could just attach it as an attachment instead of having to print it out. I wonder if there's a way for-
Well, I mean, normally you have to, you send it as a PDF or something, so if you could save it as something and just send it in, but
Right.
I mean, for me, I have to like go to the other website to like print it out. Before it just came in the mail, bingo, you have it in your hands. Now that's.
Everything's.
Right, and I do know that there's a worry about what are people uploading? Are they actually uploading their own information, their own documentation, or are they using someone else's? So we'll have to figure out a way to make sure that we're verifying that this is actually Patrice Cotton's information that she's uploading to the district for enrollment purposes. So it's gonna take a minute, but we're looking.
So can you say again, what are the outreach methods?
We're going to, right now, they're doing we were doing a weekly blast to parents who hadn't. Now, come this Monday, we're gonna start doing that on a daily basis. She is able to extract who those families are, so she knows exactly who her target audience is, that she can send this blast to. So we need to probably get on Facebook for mine, because we know some people will look there. We're also talking about some type of written communication that we can blast through Skyward as well,
So
to families.
is she able to send text messages through Skyward? Is that what is happening? Or I would consider that definitely, because
Ms. Turner tells me yes, thank you, Ms. Turner. That yes, we can send some type of communication like that, and we plan to do that as well. The great thing is, I wanted to know, can you extract those names of just those families that you can target? Because we don't wanna, there are those who are already in the process, they just need to finish, and we were talking about targeting them too, because maybe they don't know that they missed a step. And they may think that they're in the completed, and they're not, because they've missed something. So we'll be targeting both of those groups this week.
All right, any other questions for Dr. Cotton in relationship to registration update? And Lisa, you know what, that's always good information for the board, especially for those of us that don't have kids in the district anymore. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, so let's go on now to our summer school enrollment update.
Okay, and as I reported this in my district administrator's report, I wanted to just share it again with you. The final number for summer session was 290 students who participated and took advantage of reading and math opportunities to help with the potential of avoiding summer slide. And in addition to the academic enrichment, there were days that were filled with fun activities for the kids to keep them engaged. And then the high school students were involved in credit recovery, just to make sure that those students were able to stay on track. And so that's pretty much 290 was the final number in regards to summer session.
Is that also including the ones that need to do the credit recovery?
Yeah, we have a breakdown of by the number of students, and at the high school, I would say that was approximately 80 kids, give or take, that participated in credit recovery at high school.
So when we do the credit recovery, is that only for the ones that were seniors that needed those credits recovered to be able to graduate? Or are we also looking at juniors and sophomores and freshmen that may have failed or needed to repeat a class?
It is the latter, so all students have the opportunity.
Okay.
You have numbers for 9th through 12th grade. 12th grade, this was the least with only 2 students.
Okay.
That actually participated in this session.
Okay, yeah, because I wanted to just make sure and stuff, because one of the things that I do always, when I go out and I speak to different groups, I speak to different people or whatever have you, I look at what our graduation rate is, which is above the state average or whatever for us and stuff. So that's one thing that I really like to take pride in. So I just wanted to understand and just know whether or not that that number included those that needed credit recovery to graduate.
I have a question,
Yes.
and it stems from my involvement on the football team. I'm told by my son that there are some students that weren't offered credit recovery in the class of anatomy. And now they're not able to play on the football team for whatever amount of time. So I was just wondering if the class isn't offered, then what happens?
Yeah, Ms. Walker, Mr. McGregory brought that incident to me. We talked about it in our, during our one-on-one today. And so I asked, because I understand that this had happened previously. And so what the student was able to do was go with ingenuity. And so we'll see if maybe that's a possibility for because it was anatomy, and I think it was one other course that wasn't offered this summer. And so we will, if we're able to do it through that, we'll have a discussion with those parents, offer that ingenuity. So it's really like, are you able to take it this way? Or unfortunately, the student wouldn't be able to participate.
Okay, well, thank you for addressing that.
We are a fan for that, correct? Because what happened was this summer, we weren't able to find a person to do that class.
There were two courses. It was anatomy and do you know?
We had anatomy, we had also a math class, but we have to look at two different things, right? Availability of staff to teach the course, the certified staff, so that you get the reimbursement. And then the other thing is the number of students who may need it, right? So we have to make sure that we're being responsible in that way.
All right, cool. Is there another way, like, once we knew that we weren't being able to find an instructor or there were limited number of students that actually needed that? Is there anything that we could have potentially had done with like MATC or something like that for those students to potentially maybe do something with MATC? I know we don't do Kiel virtual anymore or whatever have you, but would that have also been potentially been an option for our students that for credit recovery for classes that we do not carry in the summer?
Our current partnerships that we have with post-secondary institutions are for early college credit. They're not for high school recovery.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Are there things
Independently though.
that we can implement with those students to reiterate to them?
Oh, yeah.
Potential.
Yeah. Don't pass, but.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And you want to play. That's a valid.
As a way, like if there's only 2 or 3 students, that could be between the teacher and the student.
Those are all ideas to be explored, but like I said before, we have to look at teachers being certified and the number of students that we have. It's the ratio.
But it's. Filling out sounds like here's the work at the end of the school and I get it at the beginning. So how does work?
I think the issue is that individual who taught this whole doctor class was retired. So we didn't have a teacher, I think that is another.
Yeah, truly nobody.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you guys for that update. All right, so let's go on to our item number E, approval of the lease agreement, our cameras. So would that be Mr. Russ or would that be Mr. Clement? Who is it?
Mr. Fleming.
Okay.
So we were discussing this when you approved this back in July. But we had just received a lease agreement. I wanted to double check a few things just to make sure it still made the most financial sense for us. It does. I did again reach out to the state trust fund loan. It would have been more expensive to go that route. And I did just confirm, I had our auditors review the lease agreement just because it's worded a little awkwardly about the lease purchase. And I wanted to make sure it was, it's kind of a loan, but it's also a lease. But they assured me that it'd be fine to use it as an operating lease. It would not be non-referendum debt. So that was kind of the thing I was looking at. So we reviewed it. And then the other question came into exactly how much of a down payment did we want to apply? And so as I mentioned, I'm not going to go through the memo, but I did reach out to the Department of Justice that manages our grant, and I have put in for a grant of word modification. I have not heard back yet from Justice. Are slow. So I don't know exactly what will happen. So we do have to move on this because I have to start paying invoices that are coming as part of the deal with Verkada was to invoice us like as soon as they started shipping things because that was their end of the fiscal year to give us the great deal that they did. So What I presented to you there's basically 3 lines in the COPS grant that we feel could be applicable to this. Obviously, the network security camera line makes sense, that's what this is. The network video recorders, again, that was designed for the original plan, which was to use our current system, and then we'd have on-site computers basically to record all the cameras and keep 30 days worth of footage. That is no longer relevant because the Verkada cameras are all cloud-based, so we don't need anything local anymore. So I'm fairly confident that money should be able to be applied to that and combined. And then in our discussions and as our safety team has met, we think we've reevaluated the need for doing this $20,000 reunification training with the I Love You Guys Foundation. We think we can do something basically less expensive using the Brown Police Department and our partners to go through that process. So I have put in a request to have all 3 of those lines applied. I don't know whether that will all be approved tonight. So basically what I'm asking for tonight, and I did show you in the chart below that what the difference is with the $100,000 down payment or $120,000 down payment. And you do end up saving, about $9,000 in total interest over the life of the loans. It takes our annual payments down to $60,000 a year. It does increase that first year expense, which is where we are. So not only will we in the next week have to wire the down payment, we're also going to have to wire the first annual payment together, whatever that happens to be. So it'll either be $166,000 or it'll be $180,000. But between the money available for the COPS grant, the fact that we are going to have a surplus in our current fiscal year, it will add to the budgeted deficit, kind of thing. But we're going to end up putting we'll have additional money in our fund balance at the start of this year. We would pull it from that. And then working with Kara, there are a few lines in her budget that we can play with a little bit. One of which is she does have some money set aside for camera replacements, which will no longer be needed. So that money will shift. Again, it's kind of all dependent on what comes through the COPS grant piece. So I'm comfortable just based on where we are with the fund balance piece to go with the $120,000 down payment. And then it only means we have this $60,000 payment we're gonna have to budget for the next 4 years. Again, with this agreement, there is a 1.5% rate penalty if we were to prepay it at some point. But it's 1.5% based on the remaining balance. So if we, as an example, paid this first year and then a year from now, we actually had additional funding through, as an example, a referendum, and we had a lump sum, we said, take part of this money, just pay off this lease. We could do that and just pay 1.5% of the total remaining balance, and we'd still save money on interest. It just wouldn't be wouldn't be zero, but we would save money. So that's certainly possible. We just can't repay after the first year. With the state trust fund loan, just so you know, it's set up that you don't make a payment in the first year, so you'll carry the interest, but you'll go 18 months we wouldn't pay until March of 2026. So it doesn't really help. I mean, it wasn't really advantageous to us to go around. The interest rate was higher and overall cost was more. So if you're comfortable with the $120,000, I would support that. If you feel more cautious because of the uncertainty of the COPS grant and you want to go with $100,000, that's fine too. We'll work either way. The folks from TEQ, Police Education Finance will be waiting for me tomorrow to tell them what the number is, and then they'll recraft the agreement with the actual numbers and dates. But the agreement that I attached is the agreement other than planner does.
Okay, quick question, Kevin. I might be reaching or whatever, because I'm trying to save every nickel we possibly can. I know that we have the money relationship to the food service. So I'm just putting it out there, because we've got cameras that are doing the parking lot and we park the trucks, which will go with the food services there, with us being able to do that, as well as in the lunchrooms or whatever have you, the cameras are in the lunchroom or whatever. Is there a potential way to be able to maybe shift some of that cost over to that grant? I mean,
it has nothing to do with serving food. I mean, yes, they're physically in that area, but
gave it a shot, man.
It is a nice topic. I give you props for coming up with the idea, but that would not be allowed.
Okay. Hey, I was just giving it a try, just in case. Sometimes something you can have a piece of this because it is a part of it. So, okay. Board, I think from what Kevin was saying, I think, when we look at it, that doing the down payment of $120,000 is probably the most advantageous one for us and stuff, because we'll turn around and we'll save a little under 10 grand in interest payments by turning around and doing it that way, as well as having a lower dollar amount per year when we do this and stuff. So I would think that the $120,000 would be the way for us to go. Board members, you guys agree with that and being able to do that, because we're gonna have to do when we do the motion, we can just do the motion for the, should the motions include the $120,000 down payment or?
Yeah, mention which down payment you want, just to make that clear, and then that's the document.
So it'd be the well, again, board members, are you comfortable with the $120,000 down payment?
I trust in Kevin's expertise, and if he says he's good with it, then I'm good with it.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
No one would know more than you, so.
Will it be that down payment plus?
Right? No one would know more than Kevin. If you say we can do it, then I trust what
It
you
would be
say.
$120,000 plus the 60, so it would be $180,000 for the first year.
So a total of $180,000.
186.15.
186.15. It's for you, you got that.
86.
I mean, if you can just, I would just do the down payment number just in case there's a
So
but that's the numbers that they're, that they're presenting, but.
Or should we just turn around and say not to exceed 181,000?
Well, I would just, if you focus on the down payment, the rest of it.
So we just, so we're just gonna say with the 120.
If you say $120,000 down payment, the rest of it is. calculated
It'll just be with the $120,000. All right. So would someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Ricardo camera project lease agreement with a down payment of $120,000.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Wells. Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Making. Motion is made. Second. Any further discussion? You can see none. All in favor, raise hand and/or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You can see none. Motion carries unanimously 720. All right, Mr. Clemick, let's get started. And Ms.
Are there any?
So the hardware is here, and then we're slowly but surely getting boxes in, but yeah, we're scheduling, we're kind of doing the back end networking pieces so that we're all set to go once they're get on site. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, all right. Let's go on to our item number F, our safety update. Would that be Dr. Cotton?
Yes, Cotton's gonna start.
Okay.
President, members of the board, this evening I would like to bring to the board's attention an incident that took place on campus on Thursday, August 1st. Suburban Asphalt was contracted to complete work for the district that involved repairs to the parking lot in front of the middle high school and the area in the rear of the Administration Services Center, or ASC. While working behind the ASC, the contractor's equipment hit a gas line. The Energies was contacted and the gas to the ASC was shut off. Staff members were in the process of evacuating the building, but were told it was safe to return without incident. Since the date of the incident, Suburban Asphalt has been able to repair and seal the area in front of the middle high school, which now allows vehicles to access the area. The gas line has been repaired, but additional work is necessary for the rear of the ASC. I have Mr. Russ with me who can provide additional information regarding the incident. Mr. Russ?
Good evening, board. At this point in time, Suburban Asphalt has changed their idea of how they were going to distribute the water flow back of the administration building at this time. They are now going to what we consider Plan B, which is a dry well system, which entails that to dig a hole anywhere between 12 to 15 feet deep. Right now it's about a 12 by 18 foot hole right now that is about 8 feet deep right now. They are coming back tomorrow to finish the hole and continue the process so that we can get it back. So we can get it back to square one. My original thought was that maybe we could turn it into a swimming pool with some grass, some tiki bars, call it a day. But
No, he's just joking. She came in on the tail end because her swimming pool and tiki.
Especially tiki.
So currently that's the short version of what happened. I will say that there's been another incident besides the gas line that was hit. They also did hit a electric line that caused another short in another spot. And that was repaired and made safe by Peeper Electric. I want to thank them for their due diligence. My absence, of course, all this happened while I was on vacation. So, you know, when it rains, of course, we are at a safe spot right now. Peeper Electric will continue to work to fix what has been broken until it's fixed properly.
Mr. Russ, correct me if I'm wrong, though. We also have those other transformers that are back here or whatever, and apparently we own those transformers.
I found that out at the same time you did.
Right, so, okay.
Yes, those are our transformers. One transformer, the one that was actually damaged was the transformer that runs our baseball field lighting. The transformer that is sitting in front of that, the smaller one, is the transformer that runs the administration building, the ASE here. They were about 7 inches away from hitting them. So, fingers crossed on that one.
Right. Do we need to, with that, since when Peeper came out, were they able to check, to double check and just make sure? Because, you know, a lot of times transformers are owned by the village or the city and they're responsible for it. But somehow we own our transformers that are back here in the back. So we are liable for anything and everything that's there, any maintenance or whatever, so.
Correct, and that was, before they did any further work other than making it safe, they went ahead and talked to Lee Energies, they talked to the village, and then they and found out that it was our transformers that we purchased and that we own. So yes, those are now on my maintenance list of things that have got to be checked on a regular basis.
All right, and just for anybody that doesn't know, if you go to this window right here, the transformers that we're talking about are right here to your right, and they're green. And, you know, like I said before, a lot of places or whatever, you don't own the transformers, but somehow we own these transformers or whatever have you, stuff for the electrical and everything and stuff. So that's a whole nother issue.
My question is, we have a home football game on August 30th. Are we gonna be ready to
Football
roll?
game's gonna be just fine.
Okay.
It's
gonna be the area.
the charges are baseball.
I just need like the area as far as they're gonna be done working on it.
They're tentatively right now as of next week, Monday, going to be laying asphalt.
Okay, well, we'll be tight, but it'll be done, so.
So, the back of the ASC should be done before school sets in.
So what I heard Matt say was because we didn't previously know we own those transformers, we might have to come up with a whole bunch of money sometime soon for maintenance or upgrade or whatever.
Well, it's going to be maintained by us, which means that probably once a year, I will call Peeper Electric out here just to make sure that everything is functioning just fine.
But because we didn't know that beforehand, there may be some maintenance
And
that
that's what
hasn't taken
That's what
place.
they're doing right now is making sure everything is safe, everything's up to date. Peeper Electric was nice enough to have a conversation with Dr. Cotton as well as me about what their plans are to just kind of bring us back to square one of, hey, this is the highest standard maintenance that we would have right at the present time to make sure that everything is good to go for the next year or whatever.
So, yeah.
So my question is, and I know you probably don't have the answer to this question, but I'm not sure why suburban asphalt had not one accident, but 2 accidents, and the costs that are associated with each of them, particularly when you dispatch Peeper Electric. And any other costs that we do
And I
not
will be
know.
arguing this.
Oh, okay.
I will be arguing this.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the things that they did turn around and say, because I actually here and me and Dr. Cotton, and we talked to him was the schematics show where, but they don't show how deep So when they did it, they didn't have, you know, a lot of times things are maybe under like 5 feet, 6 feet deep or whatever. This was a little bit, it was almost maybe 3.
So my colleague over here said, well, what about Digger's Hotline?
They had to call them too.
Digger's Hotline was called,
They did.
but private lines was not called.
Digger's hotline will only things that we energies, the public lines, they don't know what we've put in or what has been put in on.
It's those transformer thing back there. Nobody knows or whatever, hence the schematics or whatever. That's how we actually found out that we actually own the transformers and all the rest of that stuff.
I mean, we run fiber optic cable to the elementary school and we, you know, Digger's Hotline doesn't know where that is.
Right.
So that's where you need separate companies to come in.
So again, this accident ended up happening, but actually it was, I ain't gonna say it was a blessing in disguise, but it was a good thing that it happened and we didn't have kids and everything else like that. And now we know kind of what's going on or whatever have you, because this could have been so much worse. Oh my God, this could have been bad.
Let us know where these cords are then.
They do now.
Well, we-
No, seriously, no, but being serious right now they know exactly where everything is and the depth for everything. So now, yeah,
Yeah. It's not written down somewhere?
not the depth part or whatever have you, like how deep they're supposed to be, but I thought they were supposed to be, everything should have been like 5 to 6 feet deep or whatever, but I think this was only like 3. Not just, again, I'm not trying to make any excuses or whatever. I think there was some old schematic stuff that was going on or whatever have you. And like I said before, we didn't even know that we owned that. So if that would have never happened, we still would have never known. Okay, any other questions? All right, let's go on to our next item. Our motion to approve an additional open enrollment seat. Dr. Kai.
All right, so Dr. Vito, members of the board, during the initial open enrollment process for the 24-25 school year, seats in the high school were not included, but should have been allocated for a student who has been with the district since the 22-23 school year. This omission was merely an oversight, as the student has been in the district for the past 2 years. The student in question is in good academic standing with an overall GPA average of approximately 2.9, attendance that is 90% with 0 behavioral incidents for the 23-24 school year. The student has been able to balance an academic and extracurricular life schedule. And tonight we are seeking your approval for the addition of an open enrollment seat at the secondary level. I'm here to answer any questions.
Just one?
Yeah.
What grade is that?
It will be in 11th grade.
Oh, 11.
And the student, there are siblings
Yeah.
that are
Two
in the
siblings.
district as well.
Okay. So again, it was just an oversight. So would someone like to make a motion to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the additional open enrollment seat as presented.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Welch. Motion made. Second. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor will raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 720. So you can let that family know that those students will not be separated.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, let's go on to our next item is our Title IX policy update, our second reading.
Yep, okay, so I gave you a copy of the memo again with, I did add a couple things that, there were 2 releases of information that came out, since our previous meeting. Neither of which, has, Blue Grounder listed as as an included district with a member of one of the protected, or the litigants of the court case. So the general consensus from attorneys is go ahead and adopt the Title IX policy as stated. Now, we did have the question last time was about the language in that one section, how you wanted to address that. But other than that, we would recommend going forward with the Title IX piece.
All right. Someone like to make a motion?
I guess.
Any questions? I guess.
Or that was, I don't know if you're gonna discuss that or not, because we were talking, remember that one paragraph where you're deciding,
Yeah.
that seemed to be a point that the board wasn't sure of, but we were just, since you were tabling the discussion, you didn't need to decide that. That's in the, if you look at policy 2244, that second under overview.
2264?
2264, sorry, 2264, under overview, the second sentence, Unlawful discrimination on the basis of sex includes unlawful discrimination on the basis of now, if you want to include the sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, pregnancy, that was the question of whether or not you wanted to include that. Knowing that there's potential, something could change once the regulations are completed.
Right. That was one where we just thought it would potentially be better just to go general, so that way if we didn't go in the weeds on that one right there, we wouldn't have to continue to change it every time something changed.
When we talked about last.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that all those were identified. Now, one question is that Bob had mentioned that some districts were reporting that.
Right. Thoughts board, because I think one of the things, and I will say Ms. Macon was, making a point about certain things in relationship to that and adding in, but I also think that, if we did it generally, then that way we wouldn't have to continue that every time being able to add something, add another acronym or whatever to the policy. And if we did it general, like the way that it was written, then I think it kind of covers it. And then whatever happened with that court case, nothing came out of that court case?
The case has not been resolved, but the plaintiffs provided lists, of the affected.
School district that we weren't on there and stuff. So basically the way that
we're not.
So basically the way it was written initially is we should be good to go. Right.
I mean, until, again, that it's not clear what happens if tomorrow someone from the Moms of Liberty registers a child in our district, what happens or how quickly it can change. But as of now, I mean, I think in a good faith effort, you approve the policy and then we deal with whatever, happens afterwards. Because it's gonna change by the time between now when it's actually finally resolved.
Right. And so we just needed to make sure that we had a policy on board before the school year actually started and our sports programs and everything are in place. So
if you want to do it as presented with the changes, Bob added all the evidence, using the word unlawful, but that's fine. Thinking as is, I just want to make sure we're clear.
and that's the one, and this is with the unlawful, that was everything that Bob Butler, who is our attorney, kind of handles all of our legal documents and stuff like that. So I would say if Bob put it in there, I think we should be good to go.
So just a question though, with adding it, is there any lawful discrimination?
Well, I think it's the perception of what can be perceived as discrimination. I mean, because, you can, you can do something that way, it might be perceived that way if it's, I don't know, unintentional. I mean, I think it's it's a legal, caveat just to make sure that it is, we're focusing on things that would be against the statute versus some other occurrence potential. That makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions or would someone like to make a motion?
So I just, before I make this motion, want to know if we are approving the language as presented.
I don't think we would and stuff, because Bob put it in there.
Okay.
But I think we're still, aren't we saying in that overview section that we're taking up it's sentence in that second sentence, it stops with our second paragraph. It stops with basis of sex, right? And then beyond that stereotype, sex characteristics, that is being omitted. Is that what I'm understanding?
I think, or if you want to keep that language in there because that's in there, that's.
But if Bob didn't take it out, then, if Bob didn't take it out, then I would just leave it on. I'd leave it in there.
So that's different though from what you said initially.
What did I say?
You said leave it general.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
we wouldn't have to come back and change it.
right. So did Bob say that the way that it was written right there with that? Because like I said before, I'd rather just have it just be general and we don't go into the weeds on this thing or whatever. So
This is what he presented. He just said that some districts had abridged that second sentence. If you don't want to get into some of the specifics.
So we taking that sentence out.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah, we're gonna stop it right there. Yeah. And then period. On the basis of sex, period. Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. So again, Ms. Ashley. With the change and just stopping at on the basis of sex, period.
So with the proposed changes.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the second reading of the Title IX policy updates, including PO 2264, discrimination on the basis of sex and education programs or activities, NPO 2266, non-discrimination on the basis of sex and education programs or activities with the changes as presented tonight.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sparker. Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, raise hand and or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries unanimously 7-0. All right, and now let's go on to our next item. Is our Neola revisions first reading.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yep, that's me again. So we are in the process of finishing the employee handbook updates for 24-25, and in doing that, we discovered a few things we wanted to update. The first section is, we have a section right now, the 16-1902, all the O2s with privacy protections for fully insured group health plan. We already have that we already have those policies, they exist, but now that we've gone self-funded on dental, we started on July 1st, we want to have the 01 versions of those as well. So that's the first set you see there, 16.
So that's 1619.01?
Yep, 34-1901 and 44-1901, and their privacy protection for self-funded group health plans. So those are as presented, the same options that were in the ones that we created several years ago. Those are the same things we're using in the 01. When we did that though, we also noticed that the 02 version, because I'm the HIPAA officer, the security officer, it says Director of Finance instead of Director of Business Services. Title has changed, so the change in the 02 versions is just that, to update the title of this role to the Director of Business Services as a security official. That's the only change there. So that's the privacy protection piece. And then at the same time, if you remember several years ago, actually, I think at the start of the 22-23 school year, we made an adjustment to our FMLA calendar. We had been on a calendar year basis, and we now have switched to a 12-year rolling look back calendar, so that an individual can only use 60 days of FMLA within a 12-month period from the start of that period. So it's not defined by any arbitrary numbers, because we did have a situation where someone was on FMLA at the end of the year and then the year turned and continued on FMLA. So to avoid that, we're using the 12-month. And we publicized it. We did everything we needed to do to make that change. However, we didn't change it in policy. It said calendar year still. So we wanted to update the policy as well, just to make sure the last of the handbook. So that's the only change in there, that one sentence about the 12-month 12-month rolling look back measurement period is how we do that now.
What page is that on?
That is on the policy. That's on, if you look at 1630-01.
Yeah, it's the, go ahead, I was gonna say just a second.
Yeah, 1630-01, there is the.
Family medical leave of absence.
Yeah, it's under eligibility requirements. And in the second paragraph under there, it says to be eligible. Well, I think which one is that we.
Oh, I see it under eligibility requirements on page.
Right, oh, yeah, you have to work, hold on a second. One second, I'm wondering if we have the one now.
See something on the bottom of page. Amount of leave available?
No, hold on, I'm sorry, I apologize, one thing here. Let's go into where the draft policy. If you do have access to the Word docs sometime, it is under our draft policies, and there's a special one that calls FMLA.
It says
1630.01.
Yeah.
It's the family medical leave of absence, the FMLA.
Oh, yeah, so amount of leave available. In that paragraph where it says amount of leave available could be Want to make sure what's the version. The language should read, under the FMLA, if the staff member satisfies the eligibility requirements set forth above, the staff member is entitled to a total of 12 work weeks of leave in a rolling 12-month period measured backwards from the date of an employee takes FMLA leave. That's the new language.
So you struck
So you
out.
struck the fiscal.
Struck fiscal year running July first of the following year. Yeah, so the rolling 12 month, that's the one that's the only piece that changes.
Got it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right,
So this is the first reading, and we'll make sure we have it updated.
have that updated piece for us. All right, would somebody make a motion to approve the first reading?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the Neola policy revision updates.
All right,
The 9 policies that were presented.
there we go. Perfect. That worked for us. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Walker. A motion has been made. Do we have a second? Right, thank you, Mr. Robinson. Motion is made second. Any other further discussion? You can see that all in favor will raise hand and/or aye. Any opposed? And motion carries unanimously 7-0. All right, and now we get over to our last part of our agenda, adjournment. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Motion has been made. We have a second? All right, thank you, Ms. Barrington. All right, all in favor, raise hand and/or aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing seen, that motion carries unanimously 7-0, and I call this meeting adjourned at 7:46 p.m. Thank you very much for attending District of Brown Deer School Board meeting, and have a wonderful remainder of your evening and an even better week. Thank you and good night.